Welcome in Brett Goode, former Razorback, Henderson Phillips Employer Solutions. Brett, we usually talk football, but with the basketball game concluding like it did last night, we're going to start there. You got a chance to be a part of some great football games, but when you look at that basketball atmosphere last night, what is it like to be a player in that situation in that big of a win?
Well, those guys will never forget it. You know, the players, they always dream about playing in front of a packed crowd like that. They've heard all these rumors all the years. And, I've heard you talk about, none of those guys have been alive when this crowd was actually, when we talked about this in the 90s. And so to actually get to see that in real time and be a part of it, that's something that they'll remember forever.
And, Brett, off that point, Jalen and Devo and JD were on this team last year. Connor was as well, but it was 25%. And Jalen and Devo may have come into a packed house on recruiting visits and stuff, but last night I think was the first game that those guys and everyone else on this basketball team truly saw the impact of Bud Walton Arena at home. And to just go off that point, you look at it, you still got Tennessee next Saturday at home. You still have Kentucky end of the month, Saturday at home. What's it like as a player to know that you still have a couple ranked teams coming into your building on a Saturday in the upcoming spring, in these upcoming games?
Well, it's huge. It's points. You're bringing that Bud Walton magic back to where, anybody, we just proved anybody can come in this building and we can win again. And we've got that magic and we've got the swagger that, most of this team has shown for a while. And now, you've got the backing of the fan base that everybody's excited. Everybody, it's a ticket that everybody wants to get into these games. And the more they win, then obviously the more, fans are going to be into it and see them on this run and try and continue this run.
And last night was also a great display of how good basketball is in the state of Arkansas, not just the kids you had with Arkansas, but Alan Flanagan, who got booed every time he touched the ball, and Chris Moore, who played at West Memphis, who Arkansas really went after. I'm not sure how hard Flanagan was recruited, but two kids, and now I think Moore only played 8 or so minutes, but that was one thing that stood out to me, Brett, is they had 2 Arkansas kids on that Auburn team last night that played significant minutes for them, and it kind of put on display for those that follow the inside part of recruiting. Arkansas was central to that game, and kids from Arkansas central to that game last night on both rosters.
That's right, and the big thing about that is the fans are behind your home team. Obviously booing the other guys, and that's going to show other people that, hey, if you got some talent, you might as well come to Arkansas, because now we've proven after last year that we can have a one and done, and we're changing things that we haven't been able to do in years past, and so these kids that want to go on to the NBA, they know they can come play in a high atmosphere, crowd that's going to come in that's really second to none when they fill it out and sell it out. And so, that's big for these recruits to watch and in the incoming class. And it's also, it's great for the state of Arkansas, because you're getting to see, a lot of guys. And last night, like you said, was on point, where we had a lot of good players that were coming from the state of Arkansas, and that bodes well for Arkansas of, just to the national ranking of seeing that kind of talent on the court.
You played the Super Bowl, so you've been in the biggest game there is in sports. So take us inside what it's like for a guy like Eric Musselman, for a big game and a big atmosphere. What do the great coaches do to get the players at the right level? Not too high, just enough energy and juice, because he seemed to have his team dialed in last night, which I don't think can be talked about enough.
The crazy part is he's been doing this for 9 weeks now. They found the rotation. They got their swagger back. They're all passing to each other. They're feeding each other, feeding off of each other. And it's not just necessarily at home, but for these guys, this is their national championship type moment where, they haven't been able to be in a national championship or a Final Four yet. And so this is it. And so this is the next step to moving in the right direction. And you feel what this feels like. Now you want to, continue this run and then do it on a national level and try and get to a Final Four and then ultimately win a national title.
Yeah, the key is to not make last night the zenith of the season. The biggest moment of the year cannot be what happened on February 8th. It has to be something that happens late March or hopefully April.
Absolutely, and you don't want it to be a letdown in the next ball game either. There's a lot of emotions that go into that. They obviously went to overtime, so you played longer minutes than, obviously a normal game. It wasn't terribly long. They didn't go into the second overtime, but you've got to just build off of it. You guys stack success and get these guys to, regroup and realize that, hey, now we're fixing this, we're going to be in the rankings now. Everything's turning in the right direction. We're still, on this run. And you just want to build off that momentum. And ultimately, you want to make a run in March.
Hugh played for Houston Nutt, Brett, and he had some quirkiness. He had some stuff about him that players loved. And you look at Eric Musselman, what he does before games, and kind of the odd things that seem to work, and then him taking off the shirt after the game. When you see a coach and even an athletics director in Hunter Yurchek get as animated as they do after wins, how much more inspiring is that to play for as a player?
It's huge because you know that they love you. They love the atmosphere. All this hard work is paying off. And it's not just necessarily the in-season stuff. It's the long off-season, getting beat last year in the tournament and coming back. And, you always have to rebuild a team every year now. And you're seeing everything pay off. And when a guy is out there and you see his emotion, it's just basically left out on the court. I mean, he lets everything out there. You want to play for him, and you just got to be yourself. And then he is himself. He's been true to himself. And the players feed off of that, and ultimately they're all themselves, and they're able to just kind of go out there and just play as a team and as a band of brothers.
Brett, one of the things we also talked about is last night's win was a part of really every national radio and television sports show conversation, not just last night, but this morning as well. I asked Must how much does last night's atmosphere and closing game impact recruiting. He was talking about all these texts he got. When you look at not just the basketball side of things, but if you're a baseball or a football player watching what last night was, is that at least giving you an inspiration? Maybe I at least give this coach a call or shoot this coach a text back and see what Arkansas is all about.
It does. Last year we were number one in baseball, and we all know what happened this year in the Texas game. The atmosphere was around there, and then you bring basketball in there, and it shows everybody that we're trying to recruit just how much this state supports our teams and how much we love them, and it gives you opportunity to be on the national level. And there's a lot of other places that you can get on the national level, but to have that atmosphere and that hometown feel that you get in Fayetteville, it's almost second to none. Without being too biased, it's a really great place when you're winning. And there's a lot of support behind them, and so it gives you a little upper hand sometimes in recruiting because you're seeing, okay, they've got all these sports going on. It's the atmosphere around the campus, the tailgating. You could see all the students waiting outside, for days trying to get into this game, and so it's a magical time. And again, you're able to build off it on the wins, but you're also able to build off of it on the recruiting.
Brett Goode, Henderson Phillips with us here on the Morning Rush. Need to ask you some Super Bowl questions because we won't get to visit before the big game coming up this weekend. What are some things you're watching for? Obviously, LA's went all in. This is a win or bust moment with them, the way they've constructed this roster. And Joe Burrow, once again, has just shocked everybody. And the Bengals, the biggest surprise. What are you looking for this weekend? What are some things we should watch in the Super Bowl that's coming up on Sunday?
It's a lot like we talk about with Arkansas this year and Sam Pittman. It's going to start on the offensive and defensive line. Especially the Rams have one of the best defensive lines there is, and the Bengals have given up the most sacks. So that's going to be a key matchup. And I think this is the first time that I can remember, if not ever, you have a quarterback that's been sacked the most in the league and a quarterback that has thrown the most interceptions in the league in Stafford. So one of them's going to, he's going to get balls to turn over, and Joe's going to get sacked, and just try not to overdo something. So both these teams obviously deserve to be there, and it's just, get through that first 5-10 minutes of the game, and then you'll settle down and you get back to football and kind of get everything out. But then, a lot of people forget it's 28 minutes for the halftime where it's usually 12. So they've got to adjust and figure out what they do and what you're going to do in that time, because the Super Bowl is a long, drawn-out process for TV, and the ones that can make those adjustments the best are the ones that, it's going to win there at the end.
At least there's no additional distractions by playing in L.A. At least you got that going for you, right? So.
That's right. Yes, it's going to be a great atmosphere. The ticket's huge, and it's going to be interesting to watch because, all those years that Stafford spent in Detroit and getting beat up, and then Joe coming off an ACL, we all know, the Heisman and national championship, and he can join an elite club if he were able to win a Super Bowl. And so you join the club when you win a Super Bowl, and it's a rare feat.
All right, Brett Goode is with Henderson Phillips. His number is 651-2292. Brett, when it comes to health insurance and group benefits for any company, whether it's retirement plans, health, dental, vision, life, or just commercial insurance or personal insurance, You're the man to call. The number 651-2292.
That's right. Really, for group insurance, $2,000 to $2,000, we can get you set up for that. We can run all kinds of different game plans for you and find a way to save money and to attract some new employees, because that's a hard time right now for people trying to get employees, and you want to have a good benefit plan and package put together to support them and help them, just move forward with their life as well.
All right, 651-2292. Brett Goode with Henderson Phillips. And enjoy that win from last night. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, guys.
The game is finally here as we hit Super Sunday with the last game of the football season. From scored, totals, player performance props, to where the next fired coach is going to land, BetOnline is the #1 spot for all things NFL betting in 2022. And with the new year comes a new updated desktop and mobile website. Sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code BELIEVE to get started. That's BLEAV. And it's not just football. BetOnline's basketball, hockey, boxing, and UFC odds coverage is the best in the business. From sports right down to your favorite Vegas casino games, BetOnline is your #1 online wagering destination. BetOnline, the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports and play your favorite games. BetOnline, where the game starts.